town singing. Whoa, you ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this.
And we still have that loop that plays. It's got to be in the settings for it here. But my name's Harry. Welcome to SA Soccer Roundtable. It's playoff time. We got playoffs and TAPPS. We're about 2 weeks away from UIL playoffs. 3 weeks.
4. Yep, almost a month away. Yeah, 3 weeks away.
Yeah, 3 weeks. So we're gonna go over the TAPPS playoffs, kind of give a rundown of where things are for the San Antonio area teams. I believe the playoffs or that they are playing games today, which may or may not get updated when we go through the brackets. But we'll go prior today because it doesn't have listed, but they've done a good job of updating it through us. And then we're going to go over the UIL standings. And to prepare for bracketology, the brackets are loaded. They're not final, but they are loaded. So we'll look at Region 4 for that here and just kind of look at possible paths for some teams. Fun fact, Rafa, a team has 7 ties. What place do you think that team is in?
I would guess out of some miracle, second place.
Yeah, that would be correct. And we'll get, well, I'm pretty sure you already know who it is, but no losses, but 7 draws. I don't know what the record is for draws in a season or for a district.
That'd be interesting to find out in the UIL history books. Can you win a district title with that many ties?
It is interesting, but let's get to it here for here. So starting out in TAPPS, hold on, I'm in the wrong one here. TAPPS Division 1. So far in the regional, you got Dallas Parish. Dallas Parish has advanced over Legacy Christian, so they are in the semifinals. JP2 Plano is playing Bishop Lynch. For us, TMI had a bye. They got by St. John's 23, College Prep out of Katy 4-1. They are facing the Village School, which got past St. Dominic Savio out of Austin 2-0. So those two are probably playing this evening or this weekend for that. When is it? March 5th. So probably some time. And then, so here it is. So yeah, Central Catholic has been updated here as well. Central Catholic won 5-4 versus St. Thomas. Or pardon me, 5-4 over St. Prius. Antonium lost 6-0 to St. Thomas. And like I said, it just updated here just recently. I know you kind of saw some whispers of it, but St. Thomas gets the 1-0 victory over Central Catholic. So the state champions are down. And 2 of the final 4, Dallas Parish Episcopal and St. Thomas out of Houston, are in. Still waiting on TMI and Bishop Lynch or JP2 Plano. So your thoughts on Central Catholic? You did. So moving on to get back over. I gotta get back. I like the setup for TAPPS, but the maneuvering is not the easiest. In Division 2, not a lot of results. Have it. Regent School of Austin went down to Coram Deo Flower Mound. Let's see here. San Antonio Christian won 8-1 over Lagos Prep. They'll play Second Baptist. St. Mary's Hall got past Emory Weiner. St. Joseph Brownsville. I think you mentioned that you saw that St. Joe's got past St. Mary's in this round, although it hasn't. So St. Joe's will advance past St. Mary. We're still waiting on San Antonio Christian and Second Baptist. But if San Antonio Christian can get past, it sets up that trifecta that you have talked about here.
They're wanting to get some payback from last year. So, like I said, this year the table's kind of been turned. So, San Antonio Christians had that. They won the season series, and now can they do it for the third time? That's like I said, it's tough to beat a team three times, especially when you face them. Quite often, especially the last few years. It should be. We'll see if they do get by today, and then we'll see next week where that game's. Wonder where that game's going to be played. Possibly, maybe it could be played in San Antonio.
What, the St. Joe's one?
Yeah, and if San Antonio Christian
would be in Round Rock.
Okay. I thought there would be one more. Okay.
Well, yeah, according to here, Round Rock.
Okay, yeah, so it goes straight to semifinals. Okay, yeah,
does
it goes short. I believe so. Yeah,
because
so they'll be yeah.
Well, because this would be the championship. This would be the semifinal. Yeah, I think there's still one more because this would be the semifinals where you got the two for here.
No,
So,
but that's
their
it's the state
mapping of it's a
semifinal.
little bit funny because it's right above it.
Yeah, that's the state semifinal, and then they get the. I think they mentioned they're getting to the state semifinal according to RGV Sports.
So, but to me, like I said here, thoughts on St. Mary's Hall? To me, I think they overperformed for what we initially thought going into the season.
Yeah, good. It was a good season for them. I mean, we'll see what they return back next year. That's the key. What they have for next year, and can they finally kind of take that top spot like the last year it was Brownsville, James St. Joseph. This year it's been San Antonio Christian. As it next year their year. So we'll see.
So in Division 3 for the boys, Prince of Peace, Carrollton, the Convent School. I think you had those two. The Highlands Irving, Hill Country Christian out of Austin, is still in it on the upper side. On our side of the bracket, Geneva got past Brazos Christian 2-0, and they are playing New Braunfels Christian Academy, which I think would be the third time. Or actually, no, they're not in the same.
Second.
They're not in the
Same district.
I know they played before. But New Braunfels got past St. Thomas Episcopal, so they're probably playing soon. Geneva versus New Braunfels. And then in the bottom half, you had JP2 that did get past JP2 out of Corpus, out of Shirts, but then JP2 lost 6-0 out to British International. And then Cardinal Word lost to Northland Christian High School here. So, D3 on the guys' side here, Geneva, New Braunfels Christian are the only local teams left, and they are playing at this time for that opportunity.
Yeah, tough one for JP2. I know that British school in Houston has been one of the they've been one of the staples every year in year out. So yeah, they've been one of the better programs the last few years.
So looking at Division 1, Legacy Christian, Bishop Lynch, JP2 out of Plano. Ursuline has already defeated JP2 out of Plano 3-0, so they've already advanced. Antonian got by Incarnate High School for. Well, actually, it's incorrected. They had Incarnate, but it wasn't. They played Lutheran Concordia 4-1 for that here because if you look here, TMI lost to St. Prius 3-1. So Antonian is playing St. Prius on the girls' side. St. Michael's got past St. John's 23, College Prep 2-0, so they're still around. And Carnarvon did lose this one to St. Agnes Academy 5-1. So St. Agnes and St. Michael's is playing soon for that here. So Antonian versus St. Prius on the girls' side for Division 1. Last of the San Antonio schools surviving.
Yeah, I think they played that game in the afternoon because I saw some advertising on that, and so I haven't seen any updates. So if anyone has an update out there, pop in on the chat. But hopefully, Antonio, like I said, I know they've gone a couple 1-2 rounds deep. You know, this is an opportunity to see if they can get to at least to the semifinals on that, which still be a tall task, especially for the when you have St. Ursuline in the mix and so forth. So we'll see what they. Hopefully, they have a good positive result. Oh, they lost 2-0. Thank you, John.
So they did lose. So San Antonio is out of the Division 1 area teams here for that here. And Division 2, the San Antonio Christian girls lost to Bay Area. They were the only team here that was in locally. I think the 3-1. What was the other 3 team? I think that was the only one they had, right?
Wasn't St. Mary's Hall girls in it too, or St. Joe?
No, St. Joe's
from Victoria.
St. Joe's from Victoria was, but they lost 7-0 because we thought that there was going to be more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from the district here was only 2, and San Antonio Christian lost 3-2 to Bay Area, who are playing through here, and it looks like the Woodlands got past the Emory. And All Saints Episcopal got by Regent School of Austin for that here. So D2, Division 2, not very kind to us all year. And then for Division 3, so you got Lake Hill, Dallas Lake Hill Prep, the Convent School, Prince of Peace, and McKinley in the upper half. JP2 got by St. Thomas 3-0. They got past Veratus Academy 5-2. And they are facing off against New Braunfels Christian Academy, who got past St. Francis Episcopal out of Houston. So those two are playing soon. Geneva looks like, we've got an update here. Geneva got through Providence. Or pardon me, they got through. Pardon me, staying corrected. They got through Live Oak Classic out of Waco, and then they played the Province Classic School and won 9-0. So they have advanced to, I guess that would be the
semifinals. Yeah.
Well, this would be the semifinals.
Right, no, that's the final. Because you see how there's only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they are on the path to Round Rock for that here.
So they're going to place the winner of someone from their district, either New Braunfels Canyon or JP2. We kind of called that a little bit. The 3 usual suspects for these 3. So at least we still have 3 chances. So
it hasn't been very kind to us. But any surprises as far as through the TAPPS that you saw?
Just I thought maybe San Antonio Christian girls would maybe kind of get a first round win, and maybe second round. Who knows? But I'm sure they had a tough matchup with that. With the Bay Area Christian. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, as far as the result for the San Antonio Christian boys, hopefully they do advance, and I'm sure everyone want to see that. I think they probably want some payback from last year losing to St. Brownsville St. Joseph's in the semifinals, so they want to get to that final. So I think they have a good shot. So we'll see if there is an update on them. Like I said, go ahead and send it on. I'll send it on the chat.
So, looking at UIL standings here, because we're 3 weeks away. We mentioned starting in District 25, Northeast Early College, LBJ out of Austin, Jarrell, Austin Achieve. Those are going to be your top four. I'm getting pretty confident because Lago Vista's 5-4, Austin Achieves 6-1-2. So that's what 15, 18,
20
20
points.
points. So I guess it's 5 points. So
A 2-game lead.
Still a little bit of room to make up, but based on Austin Chiefs history, you got to figure they're looking pretty good for that here. Along those lines, any thoughts on 25?
Just like I said, the surprise has got to be Gerald. I mean, I think they're
good
but
season.
I think they, but also that I guess because I went by their town and I could notice it's growing. So I think a lot of their players are starting to kind of doing a lot of work on the off season. Probably going to play with the clubs there in Georgetown. So it's probably helped them out. And like I said, I think this is the end result. I think the other surprise is probably Austin LBJ too. I think no one kind of expected them to be in the mix. Austin Achieve, that's your defending state champ. We weren't sure if they're, how much
they got off to a slow start.
Yeah, and how much they graduated too. That's the key thing. But they're still in the mix, so and they'll probably end up going to the D2 route. So
they will go D2. Yeah, there's
so
no
they
question.
they'll probably still have an opportunity to try to see if they can still defend their title. But hey, there's another team down south, so they may have another say on that.
Looking at the District 25 for the girls, Liberty Hill Legacy Ranch, 10-0, Burnett Bulldogs 9-1, Lago Vista 8-2, and unlike the boys, the girls, you got Jarrell at 6-3-1, Austin Travis 6-4. Wait, no, hold on, I didn't adjust that. Northeast Early College at 4-5-1. So
you doubled up on the Jarrell.
Yeah, Jarrell. Yeah, I didn't delete them when I adjusted it. But yeah, so you've got probably Austin Travis and Jarrell. Half game,
half
point
game
difference.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
1 point difference between there. And that does make a difference because if Austin Travis does make it, they would go to D1. Actually it won't make a difference because those Jarrell go D1 as well.
Yeah,
looking at as well. So because Liberty Hill's a new school, right?
Yeah, the Legacy Ranch. Yeah, they'll be a 5A next year.
Yeah.
So, but they played a season last year, a JV, but this year, I know they have probably a lot of sophomores and juniors, but I know they're making see knowing Liberty Hill, they have talent over there. So, I wasn't a little surprised about this result. Maybe I thought maybe they'd be get into the second place because Burnett has been dominating the district the last few years. But great season for them. That's a team to kind of keep an eye on because if they go to that D2 route, an interesting game would be between them and Wimberley,
which we'll get to here.
Or actually, if it does stay where it is, Legacy Ranch would play Canyon Lake. That would be a dynamite game, and that could really be a factor going into the rest of the playoffs for that D2 bracket.
Speaking of 26 and Wimberley and Davenport and the gangs, Marble Falls 6-1-1, Fredericksburg 6-2, Davenport 5-1-2, Wimberley and Bandera in the dogfight for the last spot for 4. A little disappointed in Davenport on the guys' side. I know it's hard to say that they've only lost once, but the 2 draws are really hurting them.
Yeah, like I said, I thought they would be in the mix for the district title with Marble Falls. But like I said, those two draws are kind of hurting them back. And like I said, they're still within range. They got 17 points. So there's only a game behind. Technically, like I said, they have 18. 19,
19, 2 points
19,
back.
so a game behind. So they're still within striking distance. So, but I think they have a good cushion away from Wimberley. Honestly, they don't drop games. I think they should be fine. Now, Wimberley and Bandera are going to be probably fighting for that last spot. I think Bandera has had a good turnaround this season. Can they catch up? Like I said, they're only half a game behind Wimberley. We'll see. If like I said, if they do face each other, see what that could be the turning factor who gets that last spot.
Any shock on Canyon Lake?
Yeah. I mean, uh, it's a little head scratcher. Maybe I guess they may have a young team. This year. We'll see. Like I said, what can happen next year as far as if they have a lot of underclassmen on the team. It's not. I know the girls get a lot of kind of been getting a lot of the attention, but the boys, like I said, they've been kind of struggling this year. So we'll see for what they can do next year.
So speaking of the girls on 26, Wimberley, 8-0, Canyon Lake 6-1, Long Creek 3-3, Fredericksburg's 3-4-1, Davenport 3-4-1. Long Creek, this is off Max Preps. It's been hard to kind of get them updated because they're on there but not on there in some ways. So I think we're still missing a couple of scores from them, but I'm going by how they have it on here. Obviously, Wimberley and Canyon Lake pretty comfortable, but Long Creek, Fredericksburg, and Davenport still a 3-team race for 2 spots.
Yeah, Davenport's struggling. I know Steve was at the game. He reported back that it was a 3-1 win for them for Wimberley. Not sure if they're run. Maybe they may have some injuries. I think that's the only thing I can think of that they have some injuries and that's why they're struggling. I mean, if this is the correct, like I said, standings to this, they're on the brink of not making the playoffs, and which is that's going to leave that D1 spot kind of very open there. I don't think it would affect anything as far as maybe one will depend. I guess.
The one match it looks like is them and Marble Falls because Marble Falls has got Marble Falls has got 7, 6.
Yeah, because because like I said, they have the highest enrollment. So if they get in, that would knock. Well, they'd be still D1, so that would knock off Fredericksburg out of D1. Well, they were D1, so whatever the state. Wimberley, Wimberley and Lake Canyon Lake are still going D2 route. So even if Davenport gets back into the playoff hunt, they'll still be in the D1 bracket. So that doesn't really affect anything. But if I'm Canyon Lake, and like I mentioned, that showdown with that Legacy Ranch game, that's gonna be your first round game. And I know they have a game coming up at Wimberley. It's either they got to win that game and then try to get the top seed, so that way they avoid Legacy Ranch. And because like I said, they've been turning it up. Wimberley's got like I said, we're a good squad. From what Steve was telling me, they have a very tall forward. I think she was like at least 5'11". So she said she was doing a lot of damage up there. He did talk about death could be a question for them maybe later on. So if an injury too happens, that could affect them. But like I said, they're still the favorite right now. Like I said, I had them as my number 2 in my top 10 from last week, and like I said, they're still kind of chugging along. But like I said, they got a big game coming up, hosting Canyon Lake.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what team that they're missing. So they beat Marble Falls. Marble Falls, Davenport. Yeah, I have a feeling they're missing the Marble Falls Davenport matchup that they would have played because the 17th and then they played Davenport on the 27th. So that's a big matchup tomorrow between Long Creek and Davenport.
Yeah.
For that, and then they follow up on the 3rd and play Fredericksburg. But yeah, based on results, You would, well, we can't assume that, but because Marble Falls is a good team. But yeah, that's the matchup that's not reported in Max Prep is that Long Creek Marble Falls return match,
Mm-hmm.
which they did defeat Marble Falls 2-0 the first time along those lines here. So
Yeah, the big game is on the third. Canyon Lake um, at Wimberley, and then Davenport. Like I said, they do finish the season um, at Canyon Lake. So those are two key games there, especially for Davenport. It can play. It could be a spoiler for a district title, and so we'll see. Like I said, that district is always a tight race between those three.
So moving on to 27 boys, Lavernia. I believe they took a
They
loss
lost, yep,
recently.
to Gonzales at Gonzales.
9-1. Cole 8-2. Memorial 7-3. Kennedy and Gonzales 5-5. Right now, Kennedy has the advantage based on how they had it set up in Max Prep. I don't think they played their second match. This is 27. So, but your thoughts on Lavernia taking a rare district loss? I know we've talked about going to Gonzales is never easy.
Yeah,
Gonzales has won 4 in a row as well. So they did win 2-0
against Kennedy on the
against,
17th.
well, 2-0 against Lavernia
Yeah,
on the 24th as well.
yeah, they got a 2-1 win on them. And then they have a big game coming up. Gonzales at Memorial, at the Edgewood ISD Stadium at 7 p.m. Key game for them. If they can get a win there, um, that'll kind of push up a bit for them. I know with Kennedy, they split.
Does
They
it
just
go by goal difference or because they did defeat 2-0?
mhm.
Gonzales beat Kennedy 2-0, but lost 2-1. So I don't know if it
Yeah.
goes to goal
So
difference or what.
they're able to, like I said, they have tiebreakers over. Like I said, with Kennedy, they beat them 2-0, so they have the 3-2 tiebreaker over them. They did lose to Luling, but then they blew them out, so they have the 8-2 difference. They lost to Lavernia, but like I said, they split. Lavernia has the goal differential at 4-2, so they'll win that head to head. The key is this one here against Memorial. They have, like I said, they lost to them 3-2 at home, so they need to go and get a positive. They got to get a win here. They got to at least get a win by at least 2 to get that goal differential, because the rest of the way they'll have Yoakum. They do host Cole at Gonzales, and that could be the key there for them. So and that's like I said, and then they finish the season with, I think, with a young men's leadership. So that's a key for them. Get a big win there at Memorial. Should take care of business against Yoakum, and then they got to get a win against Cole. And the last time they faced each other, Cole won 4-0. So I'm sure they're looking for some payback on that. And then they should take care of business on the last game. Lavernia, for them, like I said, it's kind of rare loss. They still have, some games. Like I said,
They're comfortably in, yeah.
they can't really afford to lose another one, because, that'll complicate a lot of things. And especially, trying to, kind of distance themselves, especially when they still have to play, Cole again at Cole. They have Luling on tomorrow, and then they have a tough one against Memorial. The last time like I said, I was at that game. That was a come from behind for that one. And then they finished the season at Cole on March 10th. So still hasn't clinched anything yet, but I think if they can get win the next 3, they're pretty much kind of put things away and so forth.
And we'll say this: if Gonzales gets in, then that puts Memorial into D1. If it stays Kennedy in, Memorial goes to D2. So this is one of those races, depending on
Mm-hmm.
where Kennedy and Gonzales finish, depends on where Memorial, the Minutemen, land. Speaking of the ladies, Lavernia Cole Lolling has cleared. I think they're pretty confidently in. And then Gonzalez, Yoakum, and Kennedy, kind of in that scrum for the final spot here. But I know you've been high on Lulling or promoting Lulling as kind of the surprise team out of District 27. And yeah, they've got 4 draws, but they're still collecting points. And at this point, to me, they're in a pretty comfortable position heading into the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've like I said, they have been the surprise this year. Like I said, they have a draw against Lavernia, so they did no slouch on that. Like I said, 4 draws, for them. They're staying in these games. Like I said, they had a tie Tuesday night against at Cole, so they stole some points there. So that's helped them out. Like I said, the only loss they have is against Gonzalez, and that was a home game. So they'll face. I think they already. I think they split the season series, so they did get a win against them 2-1. So big game for them tomorrow night. They're at Luling at Lavernia for the girls at 7 p.m. Can they do another repeat? Get a tie or maybe even a win, or does Lavernia take care of business and then finally kind of start clinching the district title? Like I said, Luling still has a good chance. Like I said, they have young women's leadership the following week, and then 2 key games against Memorial and Kennedy. So, like I said, I think if they can win at least maybe 2 out of those 4, I think they have a good shot towards the end. They got a good shot at making the playoffs.
28 boys, Pleasanton, Floresville, Uvalde. I don't think any surprises for that here. Maybe the order a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Uvalde did give Pleasanton their first loss of the season, so kudos to the Coyotes.
And Somerset and Hondo have played their 2 matches, and goal difference is equal. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up. Now we got to see how it finishes playing out. But that 4th and 5th spot kind of matters in a way, because if it is Hondo, then Floresville goes to Division 1. If it's Somerset, Floresville goes to Division 2. Along those lines, I think Somerset or Hondo will finish in that 4th spot. So finishing second, whether it's D1 or D2, that is the question for that here.
Well, Somerset's got the gauntlet because they got Poteet. They do have Poteet this week. This tomorrow should take care of business, but then they're at Floresville. They host Uvalde, and then they finish the season at Pleasanton. So no favors for them. Hondo, on the other hand, which may have the
Poteet Pearsall legs.
So Hondo, they do have Floresville tomorrow. They're at Uvalde on the 3rd. They host Pleasanton, and then they finish the season against Pearsall. So that there's a possibility. I think if both teams lose, like I said, if they lose out to the top 3 teams, we may have to see a playoff game a play-in game between those 2.
Would it be a play-in, or would it be a coin flip?
Well, depending on the district, they may play for it, or they want to do the Friday Night Lights type of deal at the gas station.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, they could do that. I think if it was 3 teams, they would do that with a coin flip. But I think if it's 2 teams, I think they'd rather play it out. Now, the key thing for both teams is this: if you can steal points, a tie in any of those 3 against a team that's ahead of you, that's going to be the difference. So they have something. Like I said, both teams have something to play for. A tie is actually a positive result against either Uvalde, Flores, or Pleasanton, and that could be that 1 point or 2 points could be the difference maker towards the end.
So moving over to the ladies, Pleasanton, Floresville, Hondo, 5-3, Uvalde 4-3, Somerset 3-5, and then Poteet Pearsall Hondo looking solid at 5-3, ahead of Uvalde, which I know Uvalde still has a game to play.
Mm-hmm.
Before here, looking at the record here, but Hondo looks is 2 games up on Somerset. And I know they beat Somerset. I think that was their last match when I was looking at it here. So
Mm-hmm.
the Lady Owls looking pretty good to make the playoffs for the girls on 28.
Yeah, the only thing is this, that they have to run the gauntlet to themselves. They got
Yeah.
Florizo, Uvalde, Pilsen. So the results from them the first time around, they had a close loss to Florizo. They lost to them 1-0. They lost to Uvalde 3-0, and then they lost to Pleasanton 4-0. So kind of the same scenario here. The one game, I guess tomorrow night could be the key. Losing to Florizo 1-0 at their place. Now you get to host them. If you can get a win here,
Or
that could or a draw, that could literally help you at the very end, to beat out Somerset for that last spot. So just getting the point, stealing a point from one of the top, from Pleasanton, Floresville, Uvalde, or Pleasanton is going to be the key for them.
And then per FC Ingleside, VV here, they did a good job updating the boys, and I reached out to them. They updated the girls. London, Santa Cruz, Beeville, Cal Allen, a 7-point gap from Cal Allen to
Yeah.
Toulouse Midway for that here for the boys. For the girls, and then I'll let you talk if you want about it. But London, Cal Allen running away, Ingleside, on the girls' side, 30, and a 6-point gap between Toulouse Midway and Rockport Fulton. Your thoughts on 29?
I think the only key game is going to be that London girls game against,
Cal
I
Allen
believe, Cal, and like I said, they're just kind
for
of
the
one game,
rematch.
for the rematch, and which they actually. I'm trying to see when they play again. Um, the first time around, they actually beat Cal in 6-0. So,
Yeah.
um, so that, like I said, I don't think they have it listed here on. They may be playing tomorrow. So, yeah, Max Preps doesn't do a good job here putting all the games scheduled here. So that's the key there for them. If they do play tomorrow, um, like I said, no, they play Bishop tomorrow. So I think they still have a game at hand, I believe. Um, like I said, it looks like this one's incomplete, but like I said, that's a key for them. Whoever wins that, I guess that rematch is probably going to end up winning the district title since, like I said, it's only one loss for Callan, so that means they still have to face them. We'll see. We'll see if Rocker Fulton can pull it off and catch up to Tulsa Midway. Same thing with
On the
Kingsville.
on the boys' side, Cal Allen plays London on the 10th. So if they match up at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
should be March 10th would be there, and then
So that's going to be the key game there. Yeah.
moving to 30. And thank you to RGV Soccer Scores for the updated points. Valley View, Hidalgo recovered from they're the ones that had the losses early, right? Or the
Mm-hmm.
forfeits early. Idea Far and Idea Mission, 25, 24, 27. And that's 8-point gap. So I think these are going to be your top 4 teams for the boys. And then for the girls, Valley View, Zapata, Hidalgo, and the Gladiators. 4-point gap between Far Vanguard Academy, Rembrandt, and Beethoven. Your thoughts on the boys or the girls in 30?
Well, for the boys, like I said, it's always going to be a fight between Bellevue and Hidalgo. Like I said, it looks like Bellevue's kind of got the upper hand. We'll see if we don't get any surprises before the playoffs for any forfeitures or ineligible players. So we'll see about that. But then on the girls' side, kudos to the Sparta Lady Hawks. Um, so far a good season. The last few years has been dominated by Hidalgo and Bellevue. They still got a chance to get a district title. So one game behind. So we'll see what they can do.
And thank you to RGV Soccer Scores for 30, 31, and 32. Makes it much easier to keep track. And thank you to Ingleside as well. 31 on the boys, Donna, Progresso, 6 points back. Edinburgh Quest, the Trailblazers at 18, Westlaco Idea at 18, and then Alamo Idea and Edinburgh Idea at 15 points. for the boys on 31. On the girls, Edinburgh Quest 12-0, 15-1 on the season. Raymondville 9-3, Edinburgh 9-3, and Progresso 6-6, and then West Laco 5-7 at 15 points. So your thoughts on either boys or girls or both on 31?
I guess for the boys' side, like I said, you're looking at Progresso 2 games behind. Can they catch up to them? If Idea Donna kind of, if they lose out, if they lose 2 games, Progresso does have the tiebreaker over them, even though there was a 3-0 forfeit, but they beat them, like I said, 4-2. Um, like I said, they may, split the district title. I think they may have just enough cushion. As long as they don't, if they can win at least 2 out of the 3, they don't falter. They'll win the district title. I know they still have Westlaco Idea, who's kind of fighting for their playoffs lives. I know they have Raymondville. They should win that game, and then they have the Idea Quest team, which is in 3rd place. So 2 tricky games. Like I said, they got 2 teams that are currently in the playoff spots. That at least if they can win 2 out of those 3, that they're in good shape.
And then on the girls' side, any thoughts? Raymondville, Edinburgh, Progresso.
Yeah, Edinburgh Quest is probably gonna wrap that up. We'll see if Westlaco Idea
I
can.
think they have already, right?
It looks like they pretty much got it. Yeah, they probably got that wrapped up already. Westlaco Idea is pretty much the only one that has an outside chance to try to catch up. 1 game behind Progresso.
So 32, Riverview, Brownsville Idea 31, Port Isabel 24, La Feria 22, Santa Maria 19, tied with Brownsville Idea, Robin Hood for that here. And then on the girls' side, Brownsville, Jubilee, Rivera Jubilee, Rio Hondo, and Robindale. For that, this one's still kind of early 12-9, but I think your top 2 are maybe already locked in.
Yeah.
Rio Hondo, Robindale, fairly close. I guess Port Isabel still has a shot on the girls' side
for the 4th spot. Yeah.
And then for through here, Brownsville Jubilee, 7-4, but only at 17 points. This is where the draws or the overtimes, wins and losses kind of hurt here. But like I said, here,
still 4 games left, so it's still up for grabs.
A scrum for that final 2 spot. Well, I guess if you're gonna throw 3,
so that's 12 points right there. They're still up for grabs. So it's like I said. I think La Feria is kind of. I think they can get another win. They should be comfortable. Same thing with Port Isabel. I think Riverside's already pretty much got that wrapped up.
So just kind of a quick look, just looking at our side here. So for 4A Division 1, you would have Northeast versus Davenport, Lavernia versus Somerset, Cal Allen versus Valley View, Progresso versus Port Isabel, as far as the top half of Region 1, Division 1. You'd have Marble Falls versus Durrell, Uvalde versus Kennedy, Hidalgo versus Cal Allen, and La Feria versus Westlaco Idea Pike. Any matchups that kind of set out to you as being extremely tough?
Well, that second round game could be Valley View versus Progresso.
Yeah.
The current coach versus his former team. that's if there's no shenanigans don't come out again. So make sure you sign your papers because that your players are eligible and stuff. And like I said, it's going to be a wacky playoff. This year. But like I said, those are some tough matchups. Especially like with that Marble Falls game. I think that could be a tough one. The Marble Falls versus Gerald. I think that'd be an interesting game to watch.
On the boys' side, Division 2, Austin LBJ versus Wimberley, Cole versus Floresville, London versus Mission Idea, Donna Idea versus Brownsville Jubilee, Fredericksburg and Austin Achieve, Pleasanton and Memorial, Far Idea College Prep and St. Brutus, and Alamo Idea and Brownsville Idea Riverview for that here. So Fredericksburg, Austin Achieve.
That
Two
could be
names
an
that we know.
interesting game there too, because I think Austin and Chiefs kind of vulnerable. So
Cole and Floresville.
I think that'll be a tough one. I think Cole still win that one, but I think that the ones on the top of the bracket, that's the team to kind of keep an eye on, which is
Wembley.
Wimberley. Who's Wimberley facing?
Austin LBJ.
LBJ is the team to keep an eye on. That's the one. That's the one you really need to keep an eye on for Division 2.
So looking at for the girls, Division 1, Burnett versus New Braunfels Long Creek, Lavernia and Uvalde.
Should be a good one.
Toulouse Midway, Hidalgo, Edinburgh Quest, the Trailblazers and Port Isabel, Davenport, Austin Travis, Floresville, Gonzales, Valley View, and Toulouse Midway, and Brownsville, Riverview, and Progresso.
So some interesting matchups. Probably some not so difficult pathways too. So for a couple of
Burnett
teams,
and Lavernia in the second round. That would
that'd be a good game. That one probably be played maybe at Spencer Valley. I would think they played that one at Spencer Valley. That'd be or at Piper. That'd be a good spot to play at the Coliseum. So that'd be a good one to go watch.
So D2, Legacy Ranch, Canyon Lake. The winner of that would get Lulling and Hondo. So
you can kind of pencil in the regional semifinal on that one
for
whoever wins that game.
Lulling and Hondo, but just different levels. London versus Beethoven, Vanguard Beethoven, Edinburgh Quest and Brownsville Jubilee. Wimberley, Lago Vista, Pleasanton, Cole, Zapata, Ingleside, and Brownsville, Edinburgh. But to me, the match is the Liberty Hill, Legacy Ranch, and Canyon Lake, right, for Division 2.
The third round game with London could be also interesting. You know, whoever wins that game, that'd be another good game too to watch. Yeah, whoever I think probably whoever wins that game, that bi-district game is probably going to end up playing Wimberley in the regional final.
And I don't mean to disrespect the other 7 teams,
Yeah.
but in the bottom half of the Wimberley division, is there anyone that you think that could hang with them? Pleasanton, Cole,
No. So
Zapata, Ingleside.
you can light all the candles you want. You're not. I just don't. I don't see anybody.
Rafa's got them going all the way.
So you're already getting the early tidbit of bracketology already. I'm sure Steve and Coach probably would agree with that too.
So you got them all the way in the regional
final, yeah. So you see, and that's the key right there. So if Canyon Lake could win at Wimberley, that changes things, and because remember they'll be tied. They'll tie for the district title. And then now the key is also Canyon Lake still has to play Davenport towards the end. But if they win that game, if
Canyon Lake is first, makes a huge difference. Yeah.
So that could be the big difference there. So that game, circle that game on the calendar. Canyon Lake at Wimberley. That has a lot of implications on that, especially for that first round game. And it sucks to see a game like that. I know last year there was one game like the Austin Anderson and Georgetown that we saw. 2 quality teams, but it sucked that one had to get eliminated in the first round, because normally if you look at it on paper, that could literally be a regional semifinal or a regional final game.
Mm-hmm. So moving to 5A. Leander Rouse, Cedar Park, Liberty Hill, Lockhart, Leander Glen.
Leander Glen.
But
in trouble.
When you look at and this may be just the unfairness of it, or just my tainted vision of it. like Leander Rouse is something that you and Coach Kano, on the 50/50 podcast have been promoting Leander Rouse as the team to kind of look out for. But is it Cedar Park, Liberty Hill, Lockhart just because it's that deep in 25, or do you think
Yeah.
maybe a step back?
Well, Liberty Hill's your defending state champ, so they, they were going to be in the mix, but we didn't know how much they lost as far as graduation, and then also with the loss because of Legacy Ranch, they lost some depth out of that, so we weren't sure how that. But like I said, so far they're in the mix for the playoff spot. Yeah, the surprise is Leander Glenn. They must have graduated a lot of players from last year's team, and the big surprise has been Lockhart. Like I said, so far they have 12 points to 11, so they're a game ahead. That's going to be a key there. You know, who
Even
gets
Leander's not that
mhm.
far. What,
Yeah,
10 points?
yeah, and there's some games still left. So, um, I believe there's like see, since this is 18 districts, isn't it? So 14.
Yeah.
So they've played 10. So there's 4 games left. So there's really no room for error. Um,
And they are battling for that second spot,
mhm.
assuming that Liberty Hill and Cedar Park make it, because they will be going D2. So whoever gets that fourth will be the second team in D1.
One, yeah.
Along those lines here. Moving to 25 for the girls, Cedar Park, Leander, Liberty Hill, which if you look at Liberty Hill, what was the other school's name?
Legacy Ranch.
So unlike the boys, the Legacy Ranch, struggling, the girls on both Liberty Hill schools seem to be doing extremely well. Leander Rouse has basically a 1-game lead over Buda Hayes, and Leander Glenn's kind of hanging in there as well. But top 3 are pretty confident with Cedar Park, Leander, and Liberty Hill.
Yeah, and Hayes was, they were kind of up there for a while, and they've kind of floundered. Yeah, they've floundered a little bit, and
they're doing the
I think,
Soto.
yeah, they're kind of trying to stay in their playoff lives there because, like I said, they have like I said, Leander Rouse has the 16 points. Like I said, Buda has 13, so they're a game behind. So it's going to be a key. How, like I said, how the final 4 games are left.
26 Piper 9-0-3, New Braunfels 8-1-2, Bernie 7-3-2, Smithson Valley 6-3-2, Bernie Champion 5-5, Kerrville Tivy and Alamo Heights. For that here, it's 18, 20 points to 15 points. Bernie Champion they win one, they lose one. It's when you go through, like I said, if they could ever get on a run here to kind of close that gap, but I think the top 4s, or at least the top 3, is fairly set, and I'm pretty comfortable with the top 4. Probably finishing this, maybe not in this order between Piper and New Braunfels, but like I said here, I think this is probably the top 4 you got going into the playoffs for the boys.
Yeah, Bernie's. I think they're behind like 2. The champions behind 2 games from Simpson Valley, so they got some catch up. They're gonna have to get some results to try to get that last spot. Kerrville still have a shot, and it's not over yet. I do want to give shout out to kind of promote this for the Tivy boys. So this Friday night, they are going to celebrate the Zunker family, and for them to kind of dedicate the gift to them. So Zunker family night this Friday at Antler Stadium. So if you have a chance, make sure you go out there to kind of honor the late Coach Zunker. So
who are they playing?
They're playing Wagner, so they'll be playing the Wagner Thunderbirds. So I think that game's believe might be 7 p.m.
So moving over to the ladies, the number 1 team in everybody's rankings for 4A, 5A girls, and Rafa's girls ranking and Steve's 76 rankings. Smithson Valley, perfect on the season, still 11-0, 18-0. Piper 9-1-2, New Braunfels Unicorns 7-2-2, and the Greyhounds out of Bernie 7-4-1, and Alamo Heights hanging around at 6-4-2.
Yeah, Alamo Heights almost pulled one off against Vincent Valley, but Vincent Valley came back, and I know Steve was there, and You know,
Steve went from the VIP with
it's
Bernie
it,
to the
well, we don't get into that. But like I said, still a good game. Like I said, Bernie. I think there's some little adversity. I think they had some adversity also a game two against I think Bernie too. I think I had a 2-1. But it's good to have those games for them because, like I said, they've been flying high and they've been taking care of business. Like I said, and I think one more win pretty much locks in that district title for them. Like I said, Alamo Heights is trying really want to make. Like I said, if they do get in, they'll go in as a D2. So we really want to change things up. Like I said, pretty much Central Valley and New Braunfels go D1, Piper's going D2. So, like I said, the last probably D2 spot's going to go between Bernie and Alamo Heights. So,
Is there a team though that you think that drops out? Because Bernie's got the history that you wouldn't think they do. Piper, Smithson
well,
Valley,
same thing with Alamo Heights. They have the history too for the girls. I mean,
true.
they've
Yeah.
the last last year there was a little surprise that they struggled, and um, the key for them is this. Bernie girls they have their derby this Friday against Champion, so it's still a tough one for them because, like
Yeah.
I said, Bernie's still kind of sort of on the brink. I think a loss there pretty much eliminates
Puts them
them,
right.
kind of puts
Yeah.
them
For
kind of
champion,
sets them,
yeah.
yeah, for kind of sets them back. So, and that sets up you know a big game between Bernie at Alamo Heights on the 3rd of March. So that could literally determine who gets in. But then here's the thing with Bernie High, they still have to face Piper on the 10th, and they still have at New Braunfels on the 13th. So no gimmies here for them. And then Alamo Heights, like I mentioned, this Friday they have. I believe, like I said, they just had a loss against Bernie Champion, so Bernie Champion kind of helped themselves in the
Mm-hmm.
mix there. Um, so they have, like I said, they have Bernie on the 3rd, so they do have a bye, I believe, um, coming up. So they'll be well rested before that game, but then Alamo Heights still has to go to Piper, and they still have New Braunfels. So both teams still have two, tough matchups at the very end. So it could come down to the very last game.
27 for the boys. Highlands 8-2-2. Jefferson's 8-2-1. Lanier 7-1-3. Edison 7-3-2. I think the top 4 are set. I guess you could still throw Seguin in, but but from 1 to 4, it's what
Mm-hmm.
24, 26, 21, 21, 21, 23. So a 3-point gap between first and fourth.
Yeah, I think they have Max Perhaps has Liner at second. They do have him at 7-1-3. They have him listed as second.
Right, but
Um,
technically, if you're looking at points, 8-2-1 is more than 7-1-3.
yeah, but remember, there are. I don't know if they have. I don't think they do the shitouts anymore. I believe. Yeah, they
Oh,
have
there?
Jefferson. They do. Do they have? I don't think they have the shootouts anymore. So I
No.
guess there are no. Okay, so yeah, here they have them as a second place. Like I said,
But
they
I
have
went by the
Highlands.
points.
Yeah, so they have Jeff. Technically, they have Jeff at first, Lanier second, Highlands third, and then Edison at fourth. But still, like I said, it's still up for grabs. The between Jeff, Lanier, and Highlands as far as the top spot. So
Well, even Edison's 3 points
Edison's,
back.
yeah, there's
They're
kind
4
of within
points back.
striking distance. So Lanier, big game tomorrow against Highlands. So and then they have Burbank, Breckenridge. So Lanier has pretty much the easier schedule. If they can get by Highlands, they pretty much can walk. Pretty much. I think as they finish out, beating Burbank, Breckenridge, Sam Houston, Fox Tech, I think they'll get back their district crown. Highlands, on the other hand, like I said, they got a big game tomorrow. They have to win tomorrow to kind of keep their kind of those title hopes.
Well,
They
plus
still
Highlands
they
has the
have.
advantage of having that extra game, and
Mhm,
same with Edison.
yeah.
But technically, if you're going by points wise, that's why I think I do know that they had it through, but by that
Mhm.
extra draw there. technically, record-wise, they are ahead by 1 point over Jefferson. But
so yeah, they have, like I said, Lanier tomorrow, but then they have a big one. They finish. They have a tough finish. They have besides Lanier tomorrow, they have Jefferson, they have Seguin, and the key game is the finish the season with Edison,
ooh,
and then Jeff. I think kind of the same thing with Jeff. Jeff has a they play tomorrow against. They got Edison tomorrow, so that's enough. So there could be some elimination here. Not say elimination from the playoffs, but some elimination into the district title race. So Jeff's got Edison, Highlands, and then they finish off with Burbank and Brackenridge, and then Seguin, like I said, kind of on the cusp still. Kind of hanging on by a thread. They do have, like I said, they're off tomorrow, but they do have Edison, Highlands, so they have to get results out of those two games, and then they finish with Burbank and Brackenridge. So still things a little too tight. Like I said, Lanier has the easy, probably if they can get by Highlands tomorrow, they have the easier path to get to the district title.
And I will say this because I was talking with Coach Poor. Jefferson is D1. Lanier is D2 because of 2 students.
Now that I don't know if that changes things if Seguin gets in.
If Seguin gets in, well, yeah, if Seguin gets in, because you figure Edison drops
So that would make
then they'd put both of them at D2.
well, Highlands is D1, right? So that makes Seguin
Highlands would be D1, right? So
yeah.
Seguin would be D1 as well.
So right now D1 would be Lanier and Edison.
No,
I mean D2. I mean Lanier and Edison would be D2
yes,
right now. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So.
And speaking of 27 girls, Highlands, Edison, Seguin, and then Jefferson and Brack are in the hunt for the final 2 spots. The final 2 spots, whether it's Jeff or Brack, will be going D2. But D1 is going to be Highlands and Seguin. Order of finish still to be determined. Edison, I think, is pretty comfortable going in as the number 1 seed at D2 for that here with 9 times 3 is 27, 29 points already.
Yeah.
Compared to the other 2 schools at 18, 20. So I don't think they've got it clenched number wise, but barring a collapse, I think Edison goes in as the number 1 seed for D2. Highlands and Seguin are locked into D1.
Yeah, Brack is kind of, they still have has an outside chance to get in.
I mean, even outside, they're 1 point behind.
Yeah, so they're kind of outside looking in, and like I said, they could, like I said, I think they still face each other, so that could change some things there. So basically, it's like I said, the first 3 pretty much in, but it's going to come down to who wins that game between those 2, and then whatever results for the rest of the way.
28 Southwest is already locked into the playoffs. Not locked in as the league
district champs
yet,
but they will.
Of legacy, they will be, but yes. But they've already clinched. I think Legacy's all but mathematically has clinched a playoff spot for the D1, D2. John Jay got a much needed win over South San to break their 4-game losing streak. McCollum is the team that that's not going away at 19. Southside at 19, Harlandale for that here. So really, this matchup is this district is going to finish 3rd or 4th, whether it's Jay, McCollum, Southside, or Harlandale, just to throw them in there. Jay, I think, has my AJ plays for Jay, so they've got MacArthur coming up
Saturday at 2,
which is a winnable game. Well, we say that they've had a couple winnable games that they've dropped. They should win for it here. Although talking to Coach Poor, he doesn't want us picking anymore. For that here. But Harlandale, and don't sleep on Wynn. Wynn's not out of it yet.
Yeah, but they are traveling to San Antonio, so the key is, like I said, take care of business. For Jay needs to care of business this Saturday. The key is that game at Harlandale. If if they beat Harlandale, that pretty much I think that kind of locks them in. You know, even though they said they should take care of business and win, and then that game versus Legacy may not be much depending on maybe seeding. Like I said, like I said, McCollum still has, like I said, I know McCollum still has Southwest, Southside and Harlandale. Still, like I said, they're still in the mix. Well, CC Win kind of too a little bit if they get
Yeah.
in the hot stream. So 7 points separates them from third to seven. So, but I think if Jay can win at least two out of the four, that I think that'll get them to 20. I think that'll be a safe zone for them. It's gonna be interesting for going to those last games of the season, especially like for example, like with McCullum. They've kind of starting to peak at the right time. For them and being in the mix, but
They have a tough ending.
they have a tough one. They do got a winnable game tomorrow against CC Win. So I think if they beat CC Win, that probably maybe eliminate CC Win there. But they're at Legacy, and then they have Southwest. So they definitely need. So the max points they can get is to 22, but they still have to hold off. Southside. Southside still kind of.
That's right. McCollum's played an extra game, so
Mhm. So
um,
Southside tomorrow they're at a winnable game against South San. They're at MacArthur, should win that one,
mhm.
and then the one that could probably be for the last playoff spot is on March 6th. They host Harlandale, and they do go to CC Win on the 9th, but that March 6th game, they host Harlandale, so that could be the one that you know could determine who gets that fourth spot. Um, So, like I said, like I said, a lot of scenarios on here. A lot of meaningful games towards the end. And like I said, when I mentioned about Harlandale does have Southwest tomorrow,
Mhm.
so they host Southwest, and then they have Jay, and they have Southside. So like I said, Harlandale has a tougher end of the season compared to some of the other teams.
On the girls, Southwest is going to pull the double. I think they've already clinched
Mhm.
a playoff spot for the girls. And thank you to RC Audio Sports for keeping up with the 28 for all coverage of sports in 28 football, basketball, softball, baseball, soccer, track and field. The guys and gals do an outstanding job of covering District 28 with RC Audio Sports. MacArthur, Coach Cano's old team, looking pretty solid. The 10-point gap. And then John Jay, McCollum, Southside, even South San, all kind of in a scrum. John Jay, I think, probably has a
The
little bit
upper
of an
hand.
advantage. Although they do have MacArthur coming up, they do have Legacy remaining because they have the same teams. They have Harlandale, they have Wynn as far as for their final four for that. So you figure they got two more games that they should be getting full points, but if they could try to steal some points against MacArthur and Legacy, would help out for the Lady Mustangs. But McCullum, like I said here, solid team, and Southside's been there as well.
Yeah, like I said, kudos to Lady Dragons, another district title. Like I said, Legacy, like I said, should already pretty much kind of clinched it
Yeah.
already. Like I said, it's going to come down
Same
to
with MacArthur, yeah.
some MacArthur too. Yeah, it's going to come down to Jay McCollum. I know McCollum's got the tougher route. Not to say that Jay doesn't have it too, but I think Jay has some couple winnable games that can kind of be the difference. But McCollum's got some tall task. They still have to have wins against Legacy and Southwest. So those are the keys right there. If they can steal some points there, that can help them out.
So moving to 29, we'll go through these both the boys and girls quick,
Mhm.
and then you can give feedback. Flower Bluff, Gregory Portland, Corpus Christi Vets Memorial, then Carol and Christy Ray, Corpus Christi Ray, and even Alice and Corpus Christi Miller, kind of
Miller.
all hanging out
Yeah.
for that fourth spot for the boys. For the girls, Gregory Portland, Flower Bluff, Vets Memorial, Ray, Carroll are the two spots there. But Gregoryport and Flower Bluff for the girls, and for the guys, Flower Bluff and actually both teams,
kind of
right? Same thing.
kind
Uh,
of flip flop there, yeah.
with the
Yeah,
Veterans Memorial as the third place team, seems pretty solid as
yeah,
for both the boys and the girls in 29.
yeah. Those are your usual three teams. Those are kind of been your dominant teams there for that area. So year in, year out.
And then moving to 30, Palmview, La Jolla Palmview, La Jolla Wars Lincoln, Laredo Nixon, and Martin. Palmview at 36 may have already clinched.
The district title. I think they did. I think they may have. I think they may need one more win and they'll clinch it.
But they've clinched the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
But Martin and Mission, and I guess because that would be what.
Even if Mission gets in, they'll still go the D2. Oh no, they'll go end up
They'll go D1.
D1. So that'll bump out Nixon out of
To
D1 to
D2.
D2. So
Yeah.
Martin, like I said, Martin's trying to hold on, trying to hold them off.
And then for the girls, Nixon, Wars, Lincoln, Mission, Palmview. Oh, I should only have 4 teams highlighted, not 5. Although if you go to 32,
They're a point away, so they're still kind of in the mix. So yeah, those pretty much those 5, and which actually, like I said, there's a 5-point difference. So it's not, like I said, that's not
this
really
one's
over
wide
yet.
open. Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a 16 team. So they still have 5 games pending. So, like I said, it's not over. Well, some have 5 games, some have 4 games left, so it's not over yet. So, still a little surprised with Laredo Nixon girls, in first place. So
Is it?
kudos, yeah, a little surprising. Yeah, kudos to them.
So 31, Sherryland, perfect. Well, I guess not perfect because they did have a overtime win at 35 points, but perfect as far as records. Sherryland, which was who the overtime win was against, was Sherryland, Mission Sherryland. PSJA North and McCollin Row, 14 with PSJ Southwest at 17. So you've got a 3-team race kind of for 2 spots, but Sherryland and Mission Sherryland and Sherryland Pioneer, pretty secure with a 10-point gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5. They're probably much battle out. Like I said, the surprise team's been Sherryland Pioneer. I know last year they really didn't do much, but normally Sherryland Rattlers is the ones that have been the dominant team for that district. But great job for the Pioneers this year.
McAllen Memorial 33, McAllen 27, McAllen Row 21, and Edinburghville at 20, and then Sherryland Pioneer at 17. So really, well, I guess
Yeah, still
Sherryland
4 point.
Pioneer,
Yeah,
4
still
points
in.
between.
Yeah, with 5 games pending, there's still opportunities there for them. But I think McAllen Memorial, McAllen High pretty much got that. I think they got that clinched as far as playoff spots.
Yeah, McAllen looks like they own the girls' side in the district with 3 teams all in the top. 32, Brownsville Porter, Brownsville Rivera, Harlingen South, and Brownsville Lopez, with Donna North falling out. They had been in, but they fell out recently at 24-26. Brownsville Lopez is the other school that had the forfeits, right?
Yeah. So they roared back. They've roared back. So we kind of knew they would. So, I guess it's still not over yet. There's still some games pending. There's still, like I said, there's 5 games left. So, Porter's trying to kind of hold off, to win the district title from Rivera. I think Lopez don't. I don't think it'd take a lot for Lopez epic
Lopez
collapse.
isn't catching.
Yeah. Now they could, as far as seeding wise, they could overtake not Har no, for third place finish they can
Yeah, they
overtake
can get
Harlan's
third
up for
place,
third
but
place.
they'll
Yeah,
still finish second
second.
place.
Yeah,
And
to
be
the
on
Porter. Yeah.
So
Like I said, Donna North. Like I said, it's still has a chance, but they're kind of not doing so well right now.
And for the girls, 32, Brownsville Rivera, Harlingen South, Ed Couch Elsa, Donna North, and Donna Redskin. So I didn't look to see. And Brownsville Lopez, Brownsville Porter. So you've got 4 teams for one spot. Because no offense, but the top 3 11-point gap, and then 2-point gap from 4 to 7. So
Yeah, the surprise is Edgecott Elsa. I'm real surprised about that. And then Harlingen South usually kind of dominates that district. But kudos to the Lady Raiders of Rivera. Pretty much I think they'll probably end up winning the district title. But yeah, pretty much a 4-team race for that last spot. So it's going to come down to crucial points at those last few games.
And whoever gets in will go D2 no matter what, because Brownsville Rivera and Harlingen South will go D1.
Run D1
for that here. So looking at the boys, based on this, and we'll probably go over this through here. Leander Rouse and Smithson Valley, Jefferson Southwest Legacy, Flower Bluff versus Mission, PSGA North versus Harlingen South, New Braunfels versus Liberty Hill, Southwest and Highlands, Palmview and Corpus Christi Vets, and Rivera versus Rowe. So you went, so Southwest Highlands is a dangerous team, I think. I still think Southwest gets by them. But New Braunfels and Liberty Hill versus Southwest.
big bad Rivera. Might be coming in. Big bad Rivera might be sneaking up on someone in the 3rd round. No disrespect to Chief there, but that is gonna.
Does Chief get by Liberty Hill or New Braunfels?
That's gonna be a tough one. I mean, New Braunfels. Remember, the Braunfels they've been a dangerous team. Mm-hmm. Liberty Hill's your defending state champs. Yeah, that'd be it. 2nd round game would be an interesting one. Liberty Hill versus Southwest would be a good one. You have a state finalist versus a defending state champ. That I'm sure that game will probably be played maybe in San Marcos. That's a kind of tough quadrant right there. For those teams. So there's no gimmies. Like I said, it's like I think Coach Strong mentioned to us about Braunfels. Yeah, they're a feisty team. They're really good. And like I said, you saw where they're at right now, and that's going to be a good game wherever they face each other if they do meet up in the 1st round of the playoffs.
Rouse, anybody can compete with Leander Rouse, Smithson Valley, Jeff, or Legacy out of that quad?
I don't think anybody could. I think Rouse may have a clear path to get into to the regional final, unless
out of 29.
Flower Buff may give. Like I said, that could be an obstacle for them. That they could be one. I think that game probably be played in San Antonio, so I wouldn't be surprised if they play that one in San Antonio if they do face each other.
So moving to Division 2. Cedar Park and Bernie, Lanier Southside, Gregory Portland Laredo, Shirley Pioneer and Donna North, Piper Leander, John J. Edison, La Jolla Wars Lincoln and Corpus Christi Ray, and Porter and Sherrylyn for here. You went on.
Is Lopez is in there? Because they were in 4th place, so this should be the 2nd seed for 32.
How do I have this? Let's see here.
Yeah, Cedar Park versus.
When I did it, it was Donna North. Okay, so where's Donna North?
Yeah, they were in 5th place. They were in 5th place. So.
Because I did this before and I updated.
Yeah.
So it'd be Sherlyn Pioneer and Rivera. So they would be on the.
Rivera's they're D1.
Well, no,
so
no, because you have Brownsville Porter at the bottom.
Yeah, but Brownsville Rivera is a D1 school. So the 2nd seed for D2 for 32 would be
Lopez. Right.
Yeah.
So you'd have Lopez versus Pioneer.
Ooh, that would be. I can see Lopez beating Pioneer on that one. There's your bracket buster. That's your bracket buster right there.
Or Nixon.
That's another tough one. Nixon will give them a game, and that depends if they play at Laredo or they're or Corpus. Uh, For them, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a neutral site. It'd probably be like an Alice. That's a tough matchup for Prairie Portland. You know, they cannot take them lightly. Like I said, I think they could struggle with them.
Hold on 1 second here.
Now this is for the boys, right?
Yeah.
No.
Because Porter would be here. So yeah, so you had a Brownsville, Lopez, and Pioneer.
Yeah, I think that might be your bracket buster right there.
For who?
For Lopez upsetting Pioneer.
Would it be an upset though?
Well, record wise, it would be.
But that's only because Lopez had what, 8 forfeits?
Yeah,
9 forfeits?
four district ones,
yeah.
but that would be kind of like your quote unquote bracket buster.
But D2 seems to be, in my
It's
opinion,
stacked. Yeah, it's stacked.
This is the one that's stacked compared to the D1, and we had this happen last year.
Mhm.
Is Cedar Park Bernie 2 solid teams?
That's a tough.
Lanier and Southside, both quality teams, but maybe not at the level of Bernie and Cedar Park historically. Gregory Portland historically has been good.
Nixon's a good team too. Yeah, they're a good team too.
Pioneer, Lopez, obviously Brownsville enough. Piper, Leander.
Piper won't get to be a D1 this year, so they get to actually be at D2. So I think Cedar Park probably be the favorite over Bernie. I think Piper should be. I think they should take care of business with Leander,
and probably even against Jay or Edison. So they would probably pencil in through there, which then you would have a Piper. I'm assuming you're taking
Piper Porter. That's going to be a great game. That would be a great game. And then you'll have Lopez, probably maybe Cedar Park and Lopez,
or Bernie,
mm-hmm.
So, moving over to the girls' side. Leander, New Braunfels, Highlands, Legacy, Flower Bluff, La Jolla, Palmview, McAllen, Harlingen South, Smithson Valley, Leander Rouse, Southwest Seguin, Mission and Corpus Christi Vets Memorial, and Brownsville, Rivera, and Edinburgh Vela Sabercats.
Yeah, since the Valley
should New Braunfels, right?
That should be a fun game. I would give maybe New Braunfels the edge on that one. Yeah, they should take care. Whoever wins that game probably will win the second round game. I think Legacy should beat Highlands.
Smithson Valley, Leander Rouse, and then Smithson. Yeah. I'm assuming you would have Smithson Valley go through, but Smithson Valley and Southwest.
Yeah, Smithson Valley is just way too much, and they'll probably end up facing, like I said, either New Braunfels or who we had there was a Leander. Yeah, one of those two. Yeah, one of those two.
So moving to D2, Cedar Park and Bernie, Edson and John Jay, Gregory Portland, Juarez Lincoln, McAllen Memorial versus Donna North, Piper and Liberty Hill, MacArthur Jefferson, Nixon and Corpus Christi Ray, and Edcock, Elsa, and McAllen Rowe.
Cedar Park they're defending state champs. But here's the thing, that third round game, which could be McAllen Memorial or it could be also Gregory Portland. That'd be an interesting one.
Didn't Gregory Portland get upset early last year?
Yeah, I believe so. But I think if there is a regional semifinal game, I'd probably see maybe McAllen Memorial versus Cedar Park, but Cedar Park probably take care of business there. Piper is
Liberty Hill.
Piper. That's a tricky game for them because like I said, Liberty Hill's a sneaky good team. I think Piper could win. Close. I think they win a close one. I think they can go. Just should win the second round game. the third round games kind of probably be kind of the key there who they
McAllen
face.
Rowe.
Yeah, so who's that? McAllen Rowe, and who else do
What
we
do you
have?
got? Ed Koch, Elsa, Laredo Nixon, and Corpus
Yeah,
Christi Ray.
so they that might be the easy route right there, because for them to get to the regional final, they may have the kind of the clear path to get to the face Cedar Park. So
As opposed to having to go through Gregory
mm,
Portland and
mhm,
McAllen Memorial.
yeah, so that's probably that could be your regional final there. Piper versus Cedar Park.
So then moving on to 6A. Hold on, I'm not too far. Round Rock Westwood 10-1-1, Vandergrift 8-1-2, Round Rock Dragons 8-2-2, and Round Rock McNeil 6-4-2, and Cedar Park Vista Ridge 6-4-1, and then it drops off. So the Round Rock Invitational with Austin. I guess Cedar Park Vista Ridge is in there too, but
Yeah,
Westwood a surprise or no?
Yeah, Westwood's been the surprise team this year. Well, not so much surprise. Like I said, they've been good the last few years, but this has been their year. Like I said, Vandergrift, like I said, they had their deep run last year. And
And
you
this
know,
is they have 2 losses, not 1. So
yeah. So like I said, I knew there was going to be maybe a little drop off, but still be in the mix. Um, we'll, we'll see if Vista Ridge can still get in it. They're still in striking distance, so pretty much it's a like I said, it's going to be coming down to McNeil and Vista Ridge as far as the playoff spot.
So Vandergrift 11-0, Round Rock 9-1-2, Westwood 8-2-2, and then kind of a mix. Hutto at 5-5-1, Cedar Park, Cedar Ridge, Round Rock, Cedar Ridge, 4s across the board. Cedar Park, Vista Ridge, not that that's confusing enough. Rating it here 3-4-4. So 3 teams for 1 spot. Hutto, Cedar Ridge Raiders or Vista Ridge Rangers along those lines here. And
Yeah,
if it's not Hutto, then Round Rock Westwood would go to. Actually, no, it depends who it is, because if it's Cedar Ridge, they would still go D1. So yeah, it's not even worth talking about that at this point.
yeah. So
Your thoughts on the 3-for-1?
how does like I said, big surprise this year? Them on from what they finished last year, and uh, still has to kind of hold off. Cedar Ridge and Cedar and Vista Ridge, the 2 ridges. Uh, like I said, it's going to come down to the last couple games. Vandergrift, like I said, talked to the coach today. Like I said, they're feeling good. I think they got the district title wrapped up. So shout out to her. And like I said, we'll see what they do in the playoffs. Like I said, they had a great run last year. When they see if they can do it again this year.
26, Westlake, Bowie, Lake Travis, and I think those are clear 3 that I think may have already clinched. Then Navali, Dripping Springs, and Austin Aikens hanging in for that last spot. And I guess technically Austin Maroons is still in it as well. But Dripping Springs, do they make it in over Navali or?
You can never go wrong with drips and strings, but you never know. Del Valley's kind of trying to hold them off, and now dripping strings comes in, that kind of changes some things there, because like I said, Del Valley and Lake Travis will go D1, Bowie and Westlake go D2. But if dripping strings comes in, so that would bump in Bowie to D1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's there's a lot at stake there. So if you want to go, if you want to be in the D1 division or the D2, so I don't know what Bowie wants prefers, but we'll see.
On the girls' side, Dripping Springs, Lake Travis, Westlake, and Austin Maroons, and then kind of a gap to Austin Bowie. For that here, 2.5 games? It looks like here 9.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a total of 12 district games, so there's about 5 games left for some of them.
So, but Dripping Springs, Lake Travis, Westlake, pretty solid. Even the Maroons, I would probably pencil in, not in pen, but
Yeah,
pencil them in
yeah. I don't think Bowie. I don't think Bowie has a mathematical shot, but I think Austin Maroons will end up.
realistically.
Yeah, they'll probably hold them off.
27. Lee, Reagan, Churchill, Brandeis, and Johnson is on the outside. And I won't lie to you, it's weird seeing 3 teams with no district wins. Madison, Clark, and Roosevelt, a lot of draws. Uh, you've talked about draws hurting people. Uh, it's hurting Johnson big time right now. Versus Brandeis.
Yeah. So first place, 4-point difference, and first place is up for this Friday. If Lee gets a win, they pretty much
Are
have
they
the
playing Reagan?
yeah, they pretty much have the one foot in the door in the district title. A loss, they'll still be up a point, and then like I said, Lee's gonna have to kind of win out. Um, Churchill's trying to kind of stay, ever since they had that comeback win, against it, they've kind of held their own. But like I said, they had a little setback against Clark, that 3-3 tie, so that kind of hurt them a bit there. Brandeis, they started out slow, but they've been kind of roaring back. Even though they had, like I said, I was at Friday's game, they had a loss to Lee. Um, Johnson, they're trying to kind of stay alive here. They got some big games. Like I said, some big games coming up. They got a point off. I think a draw off of Reagan, so that kind
They're
of
4
helped them a bit.
points. They're 12? They're 12, 15 points to, right, well, 12, no, yeah,
Yeah,
15,
they're
seven,
about one game behind
3
Brandeis.
points.
So
Yeah.
So that helped. That kind of helped kept them in there, because I think a loss would have dented their chances there. So, like I said, I think the last few games, are going to be the difference maker there between who gets in between Brandeis and like I said, that also kind of changes things too. If Johnson gets in,
Lee
so
goes
that
to D2.
so Lee goes to D2, and like I said, Reagan and Johnson will be the D1 representative. So, but right now the D1 representatives are Lee and Reagan so far.
So on the 27th, it's a lot cleaner. Johnson, Clark, Reagan, 8-1-1 for the top 3. And then Lee and then Brandeis are finishing up here. It's kind of an interesting dynamic because Clark, as long as they finish, obviously they want to win the district title,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going D2 first seed automatically. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter for them. Reagan and Johnson is where it does matter along those lines here. And I feel sorry for Warren. Because well, actually, both of the North Side schools that will face either one of these 2 teams. But Lee and Brandeis, a half game part, 12 or 9, 12, 11. So 1 point separates them. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess you could even throw Madison in, but I don't know if
Yeah, they have 6, 8, so they're 2 games, come about two games behind. So mathematically, they're still kind of in the mix, but yeah, I think still comes down to Lee and Brandeis. So that's going to determine who. Like I said, those 2 who gets that final spot. But
so.
we may end. It'll be interesting if we end up with 3 teams winning the district title.
So here's how I broke up the first and third, and you could do whatever order you want.
Mm-hmm.
I went with the D1 schools. Johnson won the series over Reagan for that here, so that's why I put Johnson first instead of Reagan. Do you think that's how they'll split the 2 D1 schools? Is the head-to-head record?
They'll go to the head-to-head. So I think, yeah, because Clark has, I think, I don't know, they faced Reagan already.
Well, it
I think
doesn't
Clark,
matter for them because they're going to go D2
yeah,
as the
yeah.
first
But
team.
I'm just talking about more of the district title.
Oh yeah, as the district title, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, district title, yeah, because I think they had a win over Reagan and so forth, and Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, for the head-to-head, it's gonna go down. Like I said, with Johnson having the head-to-head, they'll get the nod over for the top spot.
I will say this: Region 4, Harlan, very underrated team. Don't sleep on them. 11-0-1. Warren 9-0-4. Marshall and Brennan has caught Soto and Taft. And at this point, I think I saw had the tiebreaker over Taft at this point for that here. Still out of play for that. Well, I guess you could go final two spots because Marshall's been a little bit hiccupy as well
Mm-hmm.
recently. But Harlan and Warren, pretty secure as far as where it goes. Where it gets interesting is if Marshall did drop out, then Warren would go to D2. Although how Marshall's playing, I don't know. I don't think that they're going to fall that far. But I guess it technically is only what 2 games.
Yeah. So
Uh,
Warren does have Soto this tomorrow on the 4th. So I think they're off the schedule. I believe they have the bye. So good rest up for them. But the big game for them is going to be March 6th when they face Harlan. That could determine, because they're only 3 points behind them, that could determine who wins the district title. Or they end up, if they can win that game, they probably end up splitting the district title based on the points. So,
yeah.
um, and then they finish with Brennan. Brennan, like I said, Brennan has to face Warren at the end, which is not good because that could boot them out of the playoffs too. So Taft, still kind of still has, like I said, it's so though, like I said, they start hot, but now they're, like I said, faltering, still mathematically in, but they have to win some games. If they don't, they're I think a loss against Warren pretty much.
They got to break the slide. Yeah.
Yeah, if they lose to Warren, it's pretty much over for them. So, and that'll just be down to like a 3-team race for the 3, 4th, and 5, 4th, 3, 4, and 5 spot. Well, between 3, 4, and 5.
For Brennan, they get Holmes and Stevens. So if
2 winnable games there.
2 winnable games. Then the big one's really that Taft game on March 6th.
Mhm.
If you're because that one I think whoever wins or loses that could determine for that spot, assuming Soto doesn't turn it around. Because Soto plays Taft tomorrow, right? Yeah, Soto plays Taft tomorrow.
Yeah, so if Taft
Where
beats Soto, that could pretty much eliminate them. I mean, I think that, and then Soto's got Warren the following week. Yeah, a bad result there is pretty much that they get eliminated. So Taft would do themselves a favor getting a win tomorrow.
yeah, Taft I think needs to get a win tomorrow. For that here. Then on the girls' side, Soto, Warren 11-1 or 11-1-1, O'Connor 9-2-1, and then Taft 7-4-1. Brennan is and Harlan I think still mathematically alive, but um, Taft would need to drop some games to get them back into it. But I think Soto Warren will battle for the division title. O'Connor still in it. If they can, I don't know their record or their schedule going down.
Yeah, I think they may have the easier uh, schedule compared to some of the other ones. I can tell you that like I said, next week, like I said, Soto girls got Taft. That's a tough matchup for them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Taft would do themselves a very good favor of getting a win there, or even getting a draw. That'll put some distance between them and Brennan. Uh, but if Soto wins, then that sets up a matchup against Warren on the I believe the 4th. Uh, so that could be the district title game right there. So on March the 4th versus Warren, that could determine who wins the district title. O'Connor,
Yeah, yeah, O'Connor, you're not kidding. Marshall, Holmes, Stevens, and then the final one against Taft. Um,
yeah,
you know,
they
three.
they would need some help. Like I said, I think if O'Connor wants to kind of get into the district title race, they definitely need Taft to beat uh, Soto in it, and then maybe Warren, and then here's the thing that we can have 3 teams tie again for the district title. So if Soto loses to Taft and then Soto beats Warren, and when O'Connor wins out, we'll have a three teams tied for first place, which literally could happen depending on the result.
Realistically, realistically it could.
It could, and I think could happen again, like it happened a couple years ago. So, like I said, Taft's like I said, O'Connor's in good shape because they're they don't have to face any of them, and but Taft, like I said, Taft is the one that is the key here, and especially for them, they definitely want to get a win tomorrow because that kind of pushes them away from Brenham. I think that touches them closer to clinching the playoff spot, but then that really throws a monkey wrench, except for that district title.
Going back to the top, I asked which team had 7 draws and is in second place. That would be the Schertz Clemens Buffalo, who rolled out to 4 draws to start. Then I think they won 2, and then I think they've drawn 3 since then. I know they had one here. It could be having it wrong, but Steele 6-1-2, Clemens 2-0-7, Buda Johnson 3-2-2. Canyon 2-2-4, San Marcos 2-3-3. Way too many draws in this one. Even Judson at 2-5-1, you can't say he's out.
Yeah, so. Well, if you look at it, like I said, if the points wise, so you have Clemens with 13 points, Johnson with 11 points. Like I said,
10 points for
Canyon. So second place is still on the line. I guess it's clear to say because they're at 20 points that Steele's pretty much kind of clinched. I think they already got the foot in the door winning the district title. I think one more win for them pretty much kind of clinches it for them. So is Clemens going to be able to win some games? I know they have 2, but are they going to be able to, those 7 ties? I think I wonder if that is a record for UIL. I think the 2 wins that they've had is for Clemens has been East Central and Judson. Then, like I said, so tomorrow they got a big game that against Johnson. They tied 2-2 the last time. And then they have East Central, Judson. So technically, if Clemens wins tomorrow, or if they tie, if they get a tie and then win the last 2, they'll get into the play. They'll get into the playoffs. So, like I said, Canyon still needs kind of some help there. They still need to kind of fend off
San
Marcos. And like I said, Canyon, they got East Central tomorrow. They host East Central. They're at Judson. Big game there. And then here's a kicker for them. And this is what I think they have it the toughest. They host Steele, but then they're at San Marcos on March the 9th. So that could determine who gets that fourth spot right there. So a lot at stake here in this district, but I guess it's safe to say that Steele's pretty much got this clinch as far as already foot in the door in the district title.
And speaking for the ladies, Steele 7-1-1, Buda Johnson 5-1-2, Clemens 5-2-2, and Canyon 4-1-3 with Coach Cano's team here for that here in 4th. Did the records get updated on that? Oh, hold on a second here. Right, that's right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they have a game pending, I believe. Yeah, because Clemens still hasn't had a bye yet. Because I spoke to him today. Yeah, because they have 9 games played, and you can see there they have 8 games played.
Yeah, 8 games. Yeah, so that's what the difference is.
So, but they have the tiebreaker over Clemens. So they technically they would be the number 1 seed for the D2 option
at this point.
So,
Steele pretty comfortable. Well, I think these are the top 4, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think San Marcos. That's pretty much, and it's going to come down to seeding. Really more. Like I said, Johnson and I think Ciblo's probably much got the locked in number 1 for the D1 spot. And then Buda Johnson to get the 2. The still up in the air. between Canyon and Clemens, but Canyon's pretty much got the upper hand because they have the tiebreaker. They still got a couple games. Can they still catch up to win a district title? They like I said, they have one loss. If they can knock off
The
Steel,
3 draws though.
yeah, they would need some help. They would literally need some help for for them to slip up to get into that win the district title. But I think a win against Steel pretty much seals the deal for them for that one spot for the D2 route.
Alexander, I think, is clinched a playoff round.
Mm-hmm.
10 points ahead. Eagle Pass is close to clinching. Laredo United, Del Rio 10, and Laredo LBJ 7. I guess you can throw Medina Valley in at 5, but how they've been playing here,
Yeah.
Not too much confidence. But Del Rio and LBJ is probably in I guess you could throw in United as well. 1 point difference, 4 point difference here. But and then on the girls' side for 30, Medina Valley 8-1, 24 points. Alexander 19-17 for Del Rio Queens, and Laredo United 12, and then a 5-point cushion to Laredo United South along those lines here. So Medina Valley hasn't. Well, I think they've clinched a playoff spot because they're 14, 17 points ahead, so they probably already clinched a playoff spot as the D1, as the D2.
D2.
But thoughts on Alexander, Del Rio, Laredo United, or on the boys' side here?
Well, for the boys' side, like I said, Eagle Pass having a great season. Del Rio could get eliminated if they don't. Like I said, I know they still have they got winnable games against United South and then at Medina Valley, but that game on March 10th against Eagle Pass could determine a lot of things there. Because if LBJ could muster up some wins, because like I said, they're still within striking distance.
3 points back, yeah.
Yeah. And LBJ still has, like I said, they have at Alexander and they have Alexander and United. The key thing is stealing points for them, even if they're losses. If they can get shootout losses, get a couple points.
Get 1 point there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, or even getting a win, or shootout win will help them out. So, but then also United's not out of the woods yet too, so they could still also drop out. But I think it's safe to say that the Bulldogs and Eagle Pass Eagles are pretty much, I think they got locked into the playoffs. Eagle Pass will probably go the D1 route, D2 route, and then Laredo Alexander will be the D1. And the girls' side, yeah, like I said, it can come down to that last game against United South. I know that's a 5-point difference, but like I said, if United doesn't win some games, United South can come back. But so even if, like I said, if the playoffs started, whether it's like I said, Alexander's pretty much in. Whether it's United South, they're going to go D1. So your D1, your D2 reps are going to be Medina Valley and Del Rio.
Yeah. For 31 boys, Enberg,
Economides, yeah.
Enberg North, La Jolla, and Enberg, with Weslaco on the heels of La Jolla and Edinburgh. And then for the girls, Weslaco, Edinburgh North clinched, and then Edinburgh, Economides, La Jolla, and Far San Juan Alamo. 3 teams for 2 spots. I guess you could even throw Edinburgh Bobcats in there.
Yeah. But this saying Johnson, there's no losses yet. I think that's a typo, John. So on the Medina Valley, I know they haven't lost a game yet, so it's probably a typo on there. So we know they haven't lost a game yet because I have them as undefeated.
I think they had it on there, but yeah.
I think it's a typo on that one. But yeah, for this one, like I said, Weslaco, I know the girls had a good season last year. They're still calling on. They're trying to hold off Edinburgh North. Like I said, Farson Alamo is still those Edinburgh, Alamo, Farson Alamo, and Edinburgh still have a mathematical chance. So it's still not over yet there, but I guess it's.
They got 4 matches left.
Yeah, so they still got chances, but I think Weslaco and Edinburgh North pretty much. Yeah, they already got enough room to. to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the top two are clear. It's just a question
The
to
last
me,
two spots.
like I think La Jolla, based on the record, you would assume that they can.
Mm-hmm.
But whether Edinburgh, Ecomedes can hang on over Far San Juan, that I guess that's kind of the question
Yeah.
for that here. Moving to 32, Brownsville Vets 10, Los Fresno 9, San Benito 6, Harlingen Cardinals 5, and sorry about your dad's school for that here. I think top four set. I hate saying that, but what 4 games? We got to go through the second half unless they sweep it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of coming down to well for district titles, it's coming down to Los Fresnos and Veterans Memorial. Those are your top of your class right there. So yeah, Hannah, not a good season. I just had a little chat with my Uncle George on Sunday. So I had a good happy birthday to him and also my Aunt Hilda in California. Yeah, my Uncle George mentioned them. Yeah, he told me they've been struggling a lot. And like I said, I think he did mention to me about Hannah's situation that they've lost a lot of talent because of those idea schools. And
Mm-hmm.
now that they're moving down the 5A, he said he thinks that they might be a little bit competitive, but like I said, what's kind of killing them is just losing those players that normally would go to Hannah. Being at those those idea charter schools kind of gutted them a lot.
Harlingen Cardinals, Brownsville Vets, Los Fresno, and San Benito. This one I will not say is clear cut. Brownsville, Hannah, the Lady Golden Eagles, 0-4, but they are only one win out of the playoffs
Yeah.
for 32 girls. But
yeah, they're still favored to win. Yeah. The one I'm surprised is Los Fresnos being in third place. That's a little surprising there.
Well, you figure they probably beat
Number
San
2.
Benito
Yeah.
and
Hannah. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I'm surprised that they're in second. They're in third place. So. Yeah, but Harlingen, like I said, they've had a great season. Like I said, they have that win over Lake Travis. So, like I said, they could be one of those dark horses on the valley to keep an eye on.
So, which would set up Round Rock versus the Valley, Lee and Brennan. Steele and Laredo United. Edinburgh and Comedias and San Benito. Lake Travis and Round Rock. Warren and Reagan.
Ugh.
Alexander and Laredo Alexander and Buda Johnson, and Los Fresnos and Edinburgh North. But to me, when I saw Lake Travis, Round Rock, Warren, and Reagan in one quad, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, then you can throw Los Fresnos in the mix too, because
well, that's not even take it. Just if you can get through those 2 rounds, then you get what Los Fresno or Laredo
or
Alexander.
Edinburgh North, yeah, or Edinburgh North and Laredo Alexander, yeah, that is not a tough. Yeah, that's a tough draw right there.
That's 4 quality teams in that quad right there.
Mm-hmm. Or
like
I think that's more than 4 quality. I think there's 6 quality teams there that.
But I'm just talking about just this quad between Lake Travis, Round Rock, Warren, and Reagan. I think if you had that as what your Sweet 16, you wouldn't be upset about. That's in your first 2 rounds through here. The top half: Westwood, Valley, Lee, Brennan, Steele, Laredo United. I know we were talking about the bottom half of Division I boys. What about the top? Anything like a good advantage for Lee or?
Well, that game, them and Westwood, that's going to probably be the key game there in the second round. Whoever wins that game can probably end up getting to that regional final.
What about Steele and Laredo United? Is that a sneaky one?
That'd be a good game. I think Alexander. I want to say which one was that? United. Yeah. Well, remember United did beat Southwest. I know they're struggling right now, but they, like I said, I've seen United play. They're a very talented team. They could give Steele some problems, and but I think, like I said, Steele would probably be the favorite, but they shouldn't take them lightly if they do face them.
So moving to D2, Vandergrift, Austin Bowie, Churchill, Marshall, Northside schools matching up, right? Churchill,
Northeast and Northside.
I thought Churchill. That's right. Churchill is northeast. Clemens and Del Rio, La Jolla and Harlingen, Westlake and Round Rock McNeil, Harlan and Brandeis. That'll be a tasty one. Eagle Pass and Canyon, and Brownsville Vets and Edinburgh Bobcats.
Not so heavy
Like
on those.
D1's definitely the better.
Yeah, that one. But like I said, you still got some good teams here on this one too. I mean,
Harlan and Westlake, that would be an interesting.
Harlan. Yeah, that would be a really good game. That'd be
or McNeil. I guess I shouldn't just assume, but I'm assuming Westlake would be favored.
Yeah. When you see McNeil, like I said, they can give some teams some fit. So on the bottom half, like I said, the Valley teams, you can see one of the
Vets, Brownsville.
Brownsville Vets is the one that you really want to keep an eye on.
Del Rio and Clemens, another draw favorite, but I know your love-hate relationship with Del Rio, that they tend to get out of the first round. Your thoughts on them facing up against Schertz?
I think they could match up well with Clemens. Depends on where they play too. I mean, if they, I believe that, I don't know if they'll try to flip home and home. I would try to, but if they played at a neutral site, I know last year they were played at Hondo. If I'm Clemens, I won't want to play there. I probably want to play them at maybe at Legacy or or they're at the Gus. I want to play on the wide field, kind of spread them up a little bit. But I think that'd be a good matchup for both teams. Like I said, Clemens has played the tougher, schedule, especially in the non-district side. But those 7 ties, it's
Throws
that's
the record off,
it's misleading. It could be a misleading thing. So, but I think you have to give the edge on that one for Clemens.
So D1 for the girls: Round Rock, Westlake, Reagan, Taft, Steele, Laredo United, Westlaco, and San Benito. Lake Travis and Hutto, Warren and Johnson. Like Warren just gets the bad matchups on each one. Alexander.
Yeah, my Uncle George. They're helping out at Charter Days there.
Alexander, Buda Johnson, and Los Fresnos, and Edinburgh Ecomedes, the Jaguars. So up top,
that
Reagan,
Round Rock, well, Round Rock and Westlake.
Mm-hmm.
That's a regional final right there, the first round. So,
and the winner would most likely get Reagan, who's a pretty solid team, assuming they get by Taft.
And you're gonna have to run the gauntlet, because even the third round game probably be tough too. So,
would you say Westlaco or Steele or
Steele? I think Steele should get through to the third round. I think they should get to the third round, and that should be an interesting game for that third round game.
Bottom half, Lake Travis, Hutto. I'm assuming you'd say Lake
Travis. Yeah.
What about Warren Johnson that would face Lake Travis? Either one of those have a shot?
I want to count out Warren because, like I said, we've seen them play.
Mm-hmm.
They make you work, and one of the things I'm very impressed, because I like to play kind of that style. And I was always hard on my players. I said, if you lose that ball, you better get that ball back in 2-3 seconds. And that's what they do. They press you, they make you work, and they wear you out.
And they have the depth.
And they do have the depth, and that could be a factor there. For Johnson, how fit are, I'm sure they're fit, but have they played a team that's kind of like a high octane they're like the Energizer burner that doesn't stop. So that could be a little tricky matchup. But still, even that second round game against Lake Travis that'll be a good one too. Like I said, more likely they'll probably say maybe a Johnson versus Lake Travis, which they have faced each other in the past. So that could be a good one. But like I said, that game against Warren could be a little tricky one for them. And they got very talented, well coached team. The bottom half, I think,
Alexander Johnson.
Yeah,
Los
Johnson.
Fresnos,
Yeah,
and
Bruno Johnson
Edinburgh.
should. Yeah, Bruno Johnson should win that game, and then Los Fresnos. I think they could go. I can go two, 3 deep.
And then for the girls on 26, Vandergrift, Austin Maroons, Clark, O'Connor. Those are Clark. Clark is a Northside school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got Northside schools facing off. Clemens and Del Rio. So you could actually have actually both Clemens teams will be facing Del Rio teams. I wonder.
No, remember that was the one that should have been Canyon. So
Oh, Canyon. Okay, that's right.
yeah, that should be Canyon because of the tiebreaker.
Well, I think right now
because of the game differential.
Yeah, the game difference
But
technically
technically it would be right now it would be Canyon, so it would be Canyon Del Rio.
Right. Well, assuming they get by East Central.
Yeah.
let's not.
Which I'm sure they will, but
let's pencil it in for that here. But
I'll get that coffee, Coach Connor. Right now, don't jinx me.
We're going based on the standings today, not the based on the standings tomorrow.
Yeah.
Edinburgh North and Brownsville Vets, Dripping Springs and Round Rock Westwood, Soto and Lee. So that's an interesting quadrant. And then Medina Valley, Canyon, and Harlingen, La Jolla. We were talking about it pre-show for Canyon just because we are friends with Coach Cano and they are on my Bullseye team to watch. If they can finish in the first slot for D2, going against Del Rio, then Edinburgh North and Brownsville Memorial is a much easier path than having to go through Medina Valley and I would assume Harlingen.
Harlingen High. Yeah, they've been
to go through. For that here, assuming that Canyon is able to get that top speed in Division 2. So it is important where you finish because, no disrespect to Del Rio Queens or Edinburgh or Brownsville Vets, but Harlingen and
the matchups.
Yeah, the matchups do tend to be a little bit easier. However, if you do get past there, you're facing probably Vandergrift and O'Connor or Vandergrift Clark. That would be the question. Is
I think right now, I think probably Clark would probably be the favorite against O'Connor, but still be a great game. That game be played at Ferris since they're close by. That's probably their home fields there because they're considered close by.
Is Clark over there too?
Yeah, Clark's because they're on Desavallet, so that technically Ferris is their home field, so they'll probably play that game there. But that'd be interesting, like I said, to play that Vandergrift team, either one of them, either O'Connor or Clark. That'd be a dynamite game to watch for that one.
Dripping Springs Westwood, or
that's an interesting matchup there. I wouldn't. I'm Westwood. I won't take Dripping Springs lightly. Even though the record doesn't, show right now, but that's still, those Dripping Spring teams they come to play. So it's going to be it's going to be a battle for that one.
And then assuming Soto gets the victory over Lee, which I know is not something.
Well, Lee, I watched the Lee girls. They have talent. They can touch the ball well. I know they lost to Reagan. That could be a little tricky game for Soto. I wouldn't take them lightly. I think they're gonna have to earn. I think that game they're gonna have to earn it, and they're not gonna. Lee won't roll over. On that game. I think they're gonna make a fight for that.
Would
win.
You give either one of those teams a chance, either against Dripping or Westwood?
That's gonna be a tough. That gap.
You're like no.
Not saying no. Anything can happen. And like I said, even between now and then, injuries can happen too. So. Not gonna win. Academics, not gonna win. Nobody gets hurt. We don't want anybody to get hurt, but like I said, also that depends on how you match up. Tactical wise too, and player wise. Who's coming into into that at that point, the hot team, who's struggling, and also the matchups. Do you have do you have better depth than they do and so forth? Because player rotation is going to be the key too on this. And also, it's going to come down to coaching. The coaching thing is if you're going to outsmart the other team and kind of exploit some things and get a good game plan, and you have a chance. So because we've seen, like I said, you watch bracketology the last few years, you see a couple upsets here and there because there were just bad matchups for some of those teams.
Well, we hit 2 hours, Rafa. I know you're. I didn't ask. Well, first of all, I didn't ask where you were. I saw that you were at Steve's second home, home of a barbecue place earlier this week. I don't know if he claims it or not.
They messed up my order too. They didn't put in my mac and cheese, so I'm kind of mad about that. So they got now that they're on my crap list now.
So you overpaid because I've been to the place that you went to. It's not
mhm.
exactly the cheapest. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. $20. It wasn't too bad, but that girl forgot my mac and cheese. So yeah, I'm not. But maybe that's a good thing because because I had my doctor's appointment the other day and I'm on the good side. I'm on the good side. So she goes, yeah, you're doing great. So like I said going down the pant sizes and all that. So I'm enjoying that. But yeah, I was in Killeen. Actually, I was in Salado. Actually, I got to see the first time ever to see two mercy rule games back to back. So, but the second one was a drag because they did not want to score. They were like kind of playing keep away. It's like I was like, just shoot the ball in, just end this. And the mercy rule goal almost ended on a own goal. I was like, but then they scored the eighth goal and that was it. But yeah, I got to see the defending state champs, the Salado boys. They're a good squad. They got a good squad. We'll see how far they go. I think that we'll see if they have lost step or not. But I think like I said, they have a good attack. The girls' side, I didn't think they played like what I saw last year, but I think they were kind of holding things back. I think especially who they're facing. So I didn't get to see the kind of the whole fury of that team with the Canrelli because they did score some bunches of goals in a couple little time frame, but then they kind of started holding back and they're like, but yeah, you're gonna see those two teams definitely gonna go deep in the playoffs.
So,
Yeah,
do I ask
I'm
you?
in Round Rock right now, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Round Rock right now.
I went to the SAFC Jersey show
Mm-hmm.
or kit reveal. Saw our Marco Ferruzzi, which was kind of interesting.
The Where's Waldo of USL.
I actually cut him off as he went to get his water before he went up on stage. I thought it was him, but I wasn't sure. I will say the kits aren't horrible, but they're not. You can't see the design.
Yeah,
So even up close, it's hard to see.
you,
Um,
you can't see the downtown map on the away jersey. They should have put maybe
it's
exit 7 on there, that more clear on their on the
uh,
white jersey. Or I mean, they said that I saw the red jersey. I kind of liked it, but I think they should have modeled it a little bit more. I don't know if you saw the what Atlas has because they have
mhm.
Charlie too. They have a really nice jersey, because they have the same colors as SAFC. I think they could have maybe modeled it, kind of done different. They should have done like the black and then kind of the red stripe or something like that. But yeah,
I'm a checkers guy. It's gonna be hard for me to ever see them beat the checkers. The goalkeepers kits were all right. I didn't have any issues with them because you could
Mm,
see the
I
actual
didn't like that.
designs.
They look
Oh,
like
you
I
didn't
was
like
like,
it?
no, I was like, why are we doing the New Mexico United
I
stuff?
did. I did think that. Yes.
They're like, we're not in New Mexico United. I mean, maybe that'd have been fit for them, but not for us. So
I just didn't. I I didn't because I didn't grow up here in South Texas. Um, so I did, when I initially thought I was like kind of Native American, kind of the preset, but I didn't know if the Mexican history and stuff along those lines. If there's some, because I do know that there,
mhm.
in Mexico there were was several different Indians, Native Americans, you know
The
down here,
Chichimecas. Yeah.
down here. So for me, I didn't have a problem with it just because I thought maybe it still correlated somehow with South Texas or kind of reach out to kind of the designs that you see in Mexico, because to me that's what you can kind of see a little bit. I know it's a little bit different design, but through there. But so I didn't have a problem with it. I liked it because you could actually see the designs. Um, to me, I think the white kit, if the designs were in like a light red where you could see it going through the jersey, I think that would have been a lot sweeter. But it'll be interesting. For
I
SAFC.
thought they would try to go maybe the kind of like the AC Milan type of
Mhm.
stripes or something. I don't think we've ever done that. Kind of model it something after like that. I know won't ever model it after Man United. Sorry, Matt. We don't want to model teams that don't get into the Champions League. So, um, you know,
This year they might.
they might this year, but yeah, they'll get eliminated by my team anyway. So, which they did advance.
Your team didn't. Now,
Well, remember they didn't have
Ben-
Mbappe, so he didn't play. But Vinny stepped up and he got to dance. He got to dance. So
Benfica played two solid games, ended up losing 2-1.
mhm.
Didn't have the easy path that Newcastle had. I don't think they've done the draw yet of
No, I
what
think
the
tomorrow. I
next.
think tomorrow they get the draw, which I'm sure they're going to end up getting Man City, but or not. I think the other choice will probably be
AJ says the same thing because
or
they
or
always
then
end up.
or they end up getting Sporting. So it's going to be one or the other. It's like, well, I'd rather get Man City now and eliminate them right early on.
I don't know, Man City. So Newcastle gets either
They may get
Chelsea or I think
Barcelona.
Barcelona, which they played Barcelona in the
They probably
first
want to get. They
stage.
would probably want to get Chelsea because Chelsea. I think they can probably beat Chelsea.
But yeah, you got either what Sporting, right?
Mm-hmm. Sporting or Man City.
Or Man City. And then you would get Atalanta, right? Or Arsenal or Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
So, and because then it gets set after this, right? After
Yeah.
this round, it's set.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd probably want Arsenal or Bayern Munich on that side.
I
Probably
really get
Arsenal, right?
I really get Bayern Munich.
Would you?
Yeah, we've they've had Bayern Munich's number.
Ooh,
Yeah,
and I wonder because the other matchup would I think it's Bayern Leverkusen would
Leverkusen.
be Leverkusen could either get is on the opposite side. So yeah, I could see you guys were that way they don't have two German teams facing off against each other. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you got uh, Newcastle and Chelsea, so I guess that doesn't really come into play. But
Yeah,
all right, well, it's a wrap for us. What's life without goals? Rafa, safe travels back, and then
some
we'll do any games that you're. Well,
uh
you probably won't announce the game depending on when you get back.
no, yeah, I don't want to be running around the stadium and throwing my shirts and all that and stuff, um but I have a game in mind. I'm going to be at so different location. I'm sure you guys play on Saturday, right? So you guys,
Yeah, Saturday.
so I'll probably be there on Saturday for that one. Um, I need to ask Steve where he's gonna be at tomorrow. I know there's some key games tomorrow for some playoff implications too. So there's a lot out there. So you have a chance to make her check that out, and we'll see what the results. And then next week I'll have my top 10 list. Well, my top 10 plus 5 coming out as well, and then we'll see. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's getting closer. Like I said here, I got the brackets already kind of going. I had actually all four regions set up here. We could have went through, but we're already 2 hours and 15 minutes in, and like if Royce was on this show, he'd be killing us. But you're away, so you have nothing better else to do in the hotel room but to talk to me and the many of the fans of us here. But do thank everybody for tuning in.
Yep.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Acevedo. Thank you, John River 68. Thank you. I think it's your uncle.
Uncle George, yep, Uncle George.
Uncle George. Like I said here, safe travels and happy belated birthday to you. But what's life? We are without goals.